Hey there, my name is Bobby Ann Allen and I'm the women's minister at Willowbrook, and today we are in 1 Corinthians chapter 5. As I read this chapter, I thought of a little phrase that Jared and I adopted into our parenting early on. It's the phrase, "in this family." What does that mean? Well, we often use this particular phrase when we have conversations when our kids come home asking questions. It's not the only time we use that phrase, but it happens something like this. Someone might come home from school and say, "Well, Mom, such and such gets to play that video game. Why can't I?" Or, "Mom, everybody else is going there. Why can't I?" And we use that phrase, "in this family," to distinguish and set apart our family with a set of values that we live by that maybe not everyone lives by. In fact, Jared and I were very intentional about the way we would communicate and express the values of our family to our children. We put together and wrote out a set of values that we put together on a canvas, and this hangs on our wall so that we can constantly go back and explain, well, in this family, we acknowledge God in all things. Or when we've had people that have had a hard time telling the truth in our family, we'll come back and go, "You know what? In this family, we are honest." And we've put together this set of values straight from God's word, and it is a standard in which our family lives by. And I think that Paul is saying something very similar here in 1 Corinthians chapter 5. He's talking about that within God's family, there is a set of values, a set of standards that we find right here in the Bible that we are to live by. But what happens when everybody doesn't live by God's standard? Well, not everybody's going to, because not everybody's in God's family. In fact, Paul says in verse 12, he says, "For what business is it of mine to judge outsiders? Don't you judge those inside? But God judges outsiders." It's the conversation that we have with our kids about, I can't tell you why in their family they allow everything that they do, but I can tell you that in this family, this is why we do or don't do some of the things that other people do. It helps make sense for our kids because they realize, wait a second, I'm part of this family, so this is part of my identity. Well, as believers, we're part of God's family, and living according to the standard of His word, that's part of our identity too. But lost people, they're not living under this standard. And sometimes we can be tempted to judge lost people like they're saved people, when in reality, those who are lost often behave like lost people. And our job is not to judge them. Our job is to love them. Now, as believers, we are to live according to the standard of the Bible. We are to live not as someone who is lost, but as someone who has been rescued and saved. So my encouragement for you today would be, as you come across people who are lost, maybe people who are living like they're lost, would you have compassion for them? Would you let God stir your heart to see them as someone who needs to be rescued? Would you not judge them, but would you love them? I hope that you'll be encouraged today. I hope that you'll be blessed today, and that you'll remember that in this family, in God's family, we live a different life, a distinguished, set apart life, and you might live that out today.